Hello, it's Sunday today. Now, today is the day I've promised myself I am going to get back on track with the homeschool planning, and I'm going to devote this afternoon to getting back on top of that. Having Sundays at home free like this is a bit of a lockdown treat for me, because if you watch my vlogs regularly, you'll know that quite often on a Sunday I will wake up somewhere other than my house, having done a gig somewhere and then I've either got to get Izzy from somewhere else where she's staying, collect her up, and then we're busy doing something on Sundays anyway. So normally I don't get a planning afternoon at all. You know, I do all my planning as I go along on the hoof. What I try and do is do as much as I can like before the start of term, and then just have to sort of ride on that really throughout the whole time, and towards the end things can start to feel a bit ad hoc and a bit chaotic. So I'm really glad now that I should just embrace this opportunity really, just for the duration of the pandemic and having to stay at home, to do some proper planning. I bet it'll really stand me in good stead for the whole week. Let's try it. Horror of horrors, I've run out of ground decaffeinated coffee. No! In other news, we're having scrambled eggs for lunch today, because look what just happened. I was tidying up my food cupboard, this one here, and dropped the eggs out, and they landed flat on their top side, but they still seem to just about be intact, but I'd say they want eating within a few hours. While I've done my timetable, I've done it in Outlook here on my computer. Now it does look awfully gruelling, but I have scheduled in the breaks as well, and the lunch breaks, so it's not quite as bad as it looks at first glance. So I've printed it off, as you can see. Every day's the same, but do you know what? Isabel likes it that way. And there's a reason why she likes to do everything in this order. And I will tell you what that is. She starts with what she considers to be her least favourite, then her second least favourite. Let me have lunch. Third least favourite, fourth least favourite, and then she comes back and does some more maths. And although that's her least favourite, we have to break two lots of maths up into two sections, because it gives her brain a bit of a chance to catch up with itself in between times. So yeah, it does look a bit like a vision of hell, doesn't it? But Izzy quite likes it that way. I've just realised there's a flaw in this plan. We've got to go for bloods tomorrow, so we're going to have to work around that tomorrow already. I do ask sometimes, you know, how long should a child be spending studying a particular subject per week at year 10, for instance? And I don't think there's a correct answer, because I think every child is different, and if they're really interested, they're going to take it in quicker than if they're not interested. And so with mine, like, she's really interested in history. She just sucks it up like a sponge. But like things like maths, she's got to really strain her brain to do it, because she's not enjoying it. And English language she quite liked, yeah, but English literature she was fine with it until she had to analyse poetry, and then she's just like, it's like she's run into a load of mud. And getting Izzy to analyse poetry is like trying to drag a sack of potatoes through treacle, frankly. So I've got a slight plan for English literature, but I'll come back to that in a bit, because today I'm going to go through everything subject by subject, and I'm going to tell you what my plan is. So I'm being specific in this video. So if you want my opinion, I do think this is a lot. That is 5 hours a day of study. I suppose that's including homework. I mean, I've also put on finishy off stuff, so I mean that would bump it up to 6 hours a day, which is frankly ridiculous in my opinion. But she doesn't normally do the finishy off hour, because since I introduced it, she quickly learned to work a bit faster. Right, let's start with maths. What are we doing with maths? I'm saying this in so much detail for the benefit of any new viewers. We normally have a tutor for maths, but because I'm not earning anything at all at the moment, I've had to temporarily suspend the services of our lovely maths tutor. But she is continuing to dish us out some work to do. We've got an arrangement. She's just recently, just today in fact, given us the next half term's worth of work in chunks. I've just printed this off from my phone. It hasn't really formatted very well, so I'm going to reprint that, but normally it looks more like this. So she gives us the main topic, breaks it down into subtopics, and then tells Izzy specifically what videos to watch in the Corbett Maths website, and along with it comes worksheets and practice exam style questions to do on all those. And as Izzy does them, she will flag up any areas that she can't quite understand, and then when we have our tutor, she goes through those flagged up areas. But we're not doing that at the moment because of the lockdown. But funnily enough, it's been a good coincidence that Izzy's been able to get through all this quite easily on her own. I am absolutely stuck on maths now. I was okay up to the end of Key Stage 3 and then nosedived at the beginning of Key Stage 4. It was just too much for me, and that is the one thing I've had to 100% delegate to somebody else. But this arrangement is working out really well. It's perfectly doable. She's learning from the lessons, and Corbett Maths is not the only free online maths resource with videos. There's loads out there. Primrose Kitten YouTube channel, she's got a lot of maths tutorials on there, so if Izzy hasn't understood it from Corbett Maths, I've told her go and have a look at Primrose Kitten, and there has been the odd occasion she hasn't understood it from Corbett Maths, but seeing it phrased slightly differently by a different presenter, she has got it then. And quite often, like if she hasn't got it from the first watch through of the video and taken a page of notes, she might do that, think she's got it, she'll start the questions and then get stuck, and then she'll re-watch the lesson again and something will just click. And sometimes it's on the third watch through and taking the notes again. And I always encourage her to keep taking notes, because it slows it down. You pause the video, you just taking in that little chunk of information at that time, and it is doable for them to teach themselves maths, but I really do think they do need an external third party to lay it out for them, tell them what to study and when. But yeah, if you're suddenly in a position where you're homeschooling your child GCSE maths and you haven't got a clue what to do, you can do that. Here it comes. I'm doing 2 copies, one for the wall and one for the folder. So this is Izzy's newly set up maths folder that I only did the other day. This is the 4th one she's got through. So I have the scheme of work for that section that's covered in the folder in the front. So I'm going to add this latest addition to that now as well. And then I use these as headings for the tabs here. I got a bit simple with these ones rather than putting the whole title in, because it was getting a bit cluttered on the tabs and hard to read. I'm going to just cut the top off this, I think, and glue it to the list. Look, it's going down and down the door. This is very therapeutic. I don't know how time efficient it is, but I rather enjoy doing it, and I always feel very pleased with myself afterwards. There we are, I've attached it. So that's maths sorted really. That's pretty much taking care of itself since I did a massive load of printing out the other day. Just to recap, in case you didn't see that video, I printed out all the stuff that was needed from here all the way down to there, which is that much work. I've stapled it into little categories, and I put it like that on the top of her drawer, and when she's done it, she gives it to me. I mark it from the mark scheme, which is on corbettmaths.com, and then I file it away, and she can find it easily if she needs to when she comes to revise. Next on the list is biology. Now I've really let this go. Now I know we're a bit behind with biology because we've just been freestyling it for quite a few weeks because we thought Izzy was going to college, but now we found out she quite possibly isn't, so we really need to get back on with it. So I'm going to look at the folders and see where we are at with it. Now we're doing 2 biologies. We're doing normal biology and human biology, and there is quite a big crossover of course content actually, so it's a bit of a cheat in a way, but we're going for 6 GCSEs including these 2, so whether they're counted as 1 or 2, she'll still get her 5 C's hopefully. So we tend to do 1 topic of each per week, so it's about 2.5 hours on each really, plus any finishing up time. Let's see where we're at then. So our home education curriculum that we're using is the South West Science School one, which is an online course. It comes with video lessons and activities to do, printable revision sheets, and we have a private Facebook group for all the parents and pupils so that pupils can post examples of their work if they've had like a practical thing to do or a bit of artwork to make to demonstrate key science concepts or whatever, so people can give each other a bit of encouragement and talk about the stuff. And the teachers are all on there and they can answer questions on the Facebook group as well, and that costs about £100 for the 2-year course per subject. You don't have external marking with that one, but because science either is or isn't, you can access the answer sheets through the website and you can just mark it right or wrong and you can see what the mark scheme is. So you don't need somebody to mark it with science. It's not like the humanities. So on inspection, we've missed about 3 weeks, so we're just going to have to get back on that really. So we'll be doing rate of photosynthesis tomorrow morning. This course is structured as a 4-term course, so you come to the end of all the topics by Christmas, year 11, and then you've got from then to do exam practices and revision right up until the time of the exam. So if you have got a couple of weeks behind and you don't catch up in the summer holidays for whatever reason, you've still got that time then to finish it off. Though ideally I'm going to try and stick to the schedule as much as I can, because we still don't know if Izzy's going to start college in September if she somehow manages to get some funding. I think what we're going to do is we're going to whiz through the topics a bit, have an introduction to them, watch the videos, maybe do some of the funner activities, but I'm not going to give her any sort of hardcore memorization stuff of learning equations and stuff like that at the moment. We're just going to get familiar with the topics as fast as we can, so we might go a bit quicker through it but do less on it, if you know what I mean, just for now, and then we'll keep reviewing it as news comes in on college funding. So I'm going to go into the South West Science School website now. I'm going to log in with our passwords and I'm going to have a look in advance at what worksheets I need to print out and revision sheets, so I can at least have them there in the folder ready to go when we do ramp it up. So here's the drop down menu on our lesson. So as you can see, we've got 3 video lessons to watch. Lesson 1, 2 and an extra one on photosynthesis and respiration. And then there's the revision sheet, so we'll print that out and we can go over that more slowly, and I can paraphrase things, we can stop and discuss points on the way. So that's a nice engaging way that we can go through that. And there's a online assignment, which is usually some kind of like a quiz. We answer questions and you get a score and then they tell you which ones you got wrong at the end, that sort of thing. And then there'll be the assignments and the answers for the assignments. Some of the assignments are things like, ooh, in the early days they were a bit funner. I think they were for getting the kids in the mood, you know, and getting them bombed in on the Facebook group. So it's stuff like make a model of a cell and then post your picture on the Facebook group and things like that. But quite often they are written assignments now, a bit later on. So you might have to answer some questions in a written form like you would do in an exam, and then I can easily mark them because they're right or wrong really with science, aren't they? It's not like the humanities, so that's easy even for me. But sometimes they're little practical investigations, and because they're designed for homes educators, they're usually based on things that you can get easily in the supermarket or whatever, you know, local shops, and only require sort of kitchen apparatus. The first video lesson for this week is just under half an hour long. It's all about plants really, but what this curriculum does is they quite often take characters from popular fiction, for instance this one from Wall-E, and they try to make it a bit more engaging for the kids in that way. The second video lesson is 8.5 minutes, and the third one's just over 8.5 minutes. Here's the revision sheet, which I've got up on my screen. You don't have to print them out, of course. You could just do the whole thing off your laptop. But, you know, if we print them out, I don't know, somehow it's less brain-boggling and we can go and sit over on the sofa or whatever. But if you do print it out, it does make it a lot more portable, doesn't it? And if you're doing homeschool on the go, like we often are, on the train or whatever, then it's easy to just put in your bag and take with you. So I'm going to print that out. Thank you, printer. There it is. So I'm just going to staple that together, punch a hole in it and put it ready to use tomorrow. This is my homeschooling resources tray. I'd say it could do with a bit of a tidy. But anyway, I'm just going to leave that on top of the folder for now so it's easy to grab tomorrow. That'll probably take us 2.5 of the days of the week to do that, and then we'll move on to human biology. So let's see where we're at with that one. Oh, we totally veered off the topic, look at this. We were absolutely not supposed to be doing that, which is electrons, atoms and all that. We were talking about electron rings, but totally we went off topic, it wasn't covered. But it was talking about, it just mentioned, you know, in passing, oh, covalent bonding. And so I didn't have any concept of what that was, so we did go into more depth than was on the curriculum for that. Why the watercolour painting, you might be asking? Well, it's just so hard to learn something you're not interested in, frankly, and Izzy was not interested in it, but I needed her to understand it so we could move on with our topic, and anything I can do to make it more engaging for her is worth a shot, in my opinion. And she's really into painting, so we got the watercolours out. Oh yes, it's coming back to me now. This big wodge of stuff at the back, that's because we ran out of tabs and I need to put some more in. Luckily, I did buy some more the other day when I went to that cheapy supermarket. So here we are. Let's make some more. Okay, so I've done up to the end of fungi and protozoan infections. We have studied sewage treatment and mitosis. Oh, biological molecules. That's when we went off on our immense tangent, which went on for several weeks, looking at science lectures and physics and chemistry and all sorts of crazy stuff. Diet and BMI. That's what we've got towards the end of this coming week now, after we've done the biology, and we get on to human biology. Oh, it should be quite interesting. I like human biology because it's so relevant, but Izzy's not convinced, unfortunately. Food hygiene after that, and energy and food, digestive enzymes. Oh, we've done some of this before. There's a lot of crossover with the biology, you see. Let me show you the colour coding on the timetable. Because there's so much crossover with the curriculum with the biology and human biology, this is human biology, they've colour coded. So anything that's blue is completely new. Anything that is red, it's the same topic, but this one has extra information. And anything that's white is just completely duplicated from the biology curriculum. So you can skip in good confidence anything in white. And there's quite a lot of white. Yeah, you'll see. Food hygiene. Doing this really gets me centred, and it kind of psychs me up for what's to come. And I don't know, it kind of takes the scariness out of it, because I've already sort of previewed what's coming up. It definitely makes me feel more in control of it, because, you know, it could get like a runaway roller coaster quite easily. There's so much of it. Let's pop those in there. I can file the stuff we did already last term now. That was wedging up at the back. Sewage treatment. Mitosis. I can see we haven't properly done that biological molecules thingy. We got sidetracked doing about how covalent bonding worked, got totally carried away with atoms, and we need to come back and do that. So I'm going to put a sticky thingy on it, bookmark kind of thing. There we are. And I've decided I'm going to write the little topics on this sheet in pen, only because it helps me, really. I know it's probably more high-tech doing it on the computer. Put it for Thursday and Friday. Biological molecules. Those 2 days there. We're going to find it really easy to catch up with the human biology, because as you can see, all these white ones are just doubled up with biology, so we don't technically need to do them as well. So really, look, there's only one post Easter holiday one that we haven't done, and we haven't done this. We need to finish that, so really we've got plenty of time to catch up. Look, only one other one really. What's this? Rise of the mutants, mutations, cystic fibrosis and gene therapy. That's the only different one after those. Takes us right up to the summer holidays. Pop that away. Right, what were we doing for biology again? Rate of photosynthesis, I'm just going to write that on the sheet as well. 2.5 to 3 days, because we do it on the 5 days, so we might sort of finish one halfway through there. Well, it'll take us as long as it takes us, but anyway. Rate of photosynthesis. I've got a feeling she's not going to like rate of photosynthesis, because it sounds mathematical and equation-y, and believe me, my Izzy does not like mathematical equation-y aspects of science. There's less of it with biology than chemistry and physics, but there is still quite a bit. So I've looked at maths and I've looked at biology. Lunch break, speaks for itself. English language, now I'm alternating language and literature here. I've also stuck a literature there, so there's 3 of each this week. And 4 histories, because we're just getting through it so much quicker, because she's so much more interested in it. But English language, now we've finished the course. So for Izzy's English, she's doing a correspondence course with Catherine Mooney, which cost about £300 for the whole course, and it includes having all 10 of the assignments marked externally by Catherine Mooney, and she sends us feedback by email, very specific to Isabel's assignment. So it is a bit costly compared to just going through the textbook on your own. But if you're not very confident, like me, and you want somebody who's got a good idea of what the expected level is for every grade boundary, it's been real peace of mind. And it's been motivating for Izzy, because she's had that external source of affirmation, and she's been more motivated to do it for somebody outside the home as well. But anyway, she's finished everything in this course except for the last assignment, which is a mock exam, and I want to save it till much later before the exam really. I didn't want to sort of waste it now while she's still at year 10 level. So I'm holding out for that one really. That's with Edexcel exam board. With the Edexcel exam, it's all 100% exam based. There's no coursework. But anyway, what we're doing now while we've finished that whole course, you know, a year early, we're going through this revision book, going over the basics of the spelling, punctuation and grammar. So we're doing this for now. And it's quite interesting. We're going through it together, 100%. You know, one-on-one really. We're going to be doing words where people quite often put in an extra letter, doubling up the consonant when it's not needed. So we're going to look at words where that happens a lot. Yeah, we'll just carry on going through the book on that one. There we are. I've just put spag in for English language on the 3 occasions it's going to happen this week, but that stands for spelling, punctuation and grammar. Now for the literatures, Izzy's not enjoying analysing poetry at all, so I'm quite happy to give that a little break. Again, we're using that Catherine Mooney provider, and Izzy has not finished this course by any means. I think she's on chapter 4 or 5. Let me have a look. My goodness, what's going on with all this paper sticking out everywhere? Oh, they're the anthologies. Izzy's not put them back in the right place. Well, I'll just do that now. Right, literature. Izzy's really not enjoying literature, and we've still got the possibility that we might be able to drop these if funding becomes available for Izzy's college course. So what I'm going to do is the fun stuff that she will actually enjoy. So we haven't even started this, which is one of the set texts yet, and I know it can be very time consuming reading the book. So I've actually found on YouTube a television series, I think from 1983 or something, by the BBC, which I've got a feeling is going to be pretty faithful to the text. I'm not 100% sure, but I would have thought so. A play is a play, surely they're just reading the script. So with Pride and Prejudice, I literally read it aloud to Izzy and stopped continuously to discuss vocabulary she didn't understand, concepts she didn't understand, to look at the footnotes together. So it took us a very long time to get through Pride and Prejudice. But with this one, look, how am I going to read this? All these different characters, I can't read all that. So we're going to let YouTube read it and watch it together. So I'm going to schedule that in. But at some point, I'd like her to listen to it whilst looking through, because I think that would be useful. So that's basically what literature's going to be this week. Spectacles. That should be pretty pleasant, I think. Just sit in. I'll watch it with her because I want to get an idea of what it is. But once I've watched it once, I shall let her watch it again with the book in her hand, you know, listen to it whilst looking at the book. And we might watch some different versions as well, because I noticed there's a much newer version of it, and I bet there's a black and white one out there somewhere. And there might be, you know, different productions. It'd be interesting for Izzy to compare the different productions of the play, because she is very, very interested in theatre. That's something I think she will be very interested in, is doing a bit of comparison between the different interpretations. However, that's going off the curriculum, isn't it? So, but I can imagine that would be a good way for her to do it. Maybe we'll fit in 2 films over those 3 hours this week, because I think they're about an hour and a half-ish each. First one was an hour and 10 minutes, I noticed. So that's not too, like, brain draining, sitting and watching a film, so hopefully she'll actually enjoy that, and it'll give her a bit of a break in the middle of the day between the more heady subjects. History, we're just going to carry on with the Tudors. I'm basically reading this to her, and she is loving it because she's interested in anything to do with the Tudors. We've already got that far through this book this term, because we're not doing the written exercises at the moment. Because we thought she was going to college, we dropped all the written work just to get through the curriculum, because she's genuinely interested in the Tudors and wanted to be able to cover it before September started. So we were going to try and cover the whole year's worth before that. I think we'll carry on in this vein, because she still might get that funding, but covering the material now is still beneficial. So we might do more written work later, if it looks like we're going to have to go the whole way with the GCSEs on our own. And apart from that, it's just more maths, which I've already planned for, so that's fine. This was a much longer video than I normally do, and it's slightly different to what I normally do because I normally vlog, but I've noticed that when I vlog about planning our home education stuff, it tends to get more views over a longer time, so I think people genuinely want videos like that. So this is why I've done this. So anyone that's just interested in planning and doesn't want to know what I'm having for dinner or what my little walk was like in the evening, whatever, you didn't need to worry about it, because this was just about planning, so it was just for you. But you're welcome to subscribe to the channel. We vlog about our lives, me and my daughter Izzy, who's just turned 15, and a lot of it includes home education because we are home educating. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!